The Atharvaveda, Hymn 4:10. 7 verses. Child of the wind, firmament, sprung from the lightning and the light, may this, the gold-born shell that bears the pearl, preserve us from distress. Shell that was born from out the sea, set at the head of things that shine. With thee we slay the Rakshasas and overcome voracious fiends. We stay disease and indigence and chase Satambas with the shell. May the all-healing shell that bears the pearl preserve us from distress. Born in the heaven, sprung from the sea, brought to us hither from the flood, this gold-born shell shall be to us an amulet to lengthen life. From ocean sprang the amulet, from Vritra sprang the Lord of Day. May this protect us round about, from shaft of God and Asura. Peerless amid golden ornaments art thou, from Soma wast thou born, thou gleamest on the quiver. Thou art beautiful upon the car, may it prolong our days of life. Bone of the good became the pearl shell mother, endowed with soul, it moveth in the waters. I bind this on thee for life, strength, and vigor, for long life, lasting through 100 autumns. May the pearl's mother keep and guard thee safely. And this kind of reminds one of some of the Yazidi myths and some of the Yazidi practices, which this Vedic Hinduism may represent something older, but as far as a continual tradition, we can perhaps say this is straight from an older Yazidi strain. Well, I mean, nowadays we'd call them Yazidi, but yeah. Because 1700 to 2000 BCE language are in reference to something that happened now. I forget. It's over 6,000 years, anyways. Hymn 4:11, 12 verses. The bull supports the widespread earth and heaven. The bull supports the spacious air between them. The bull supports the sky's 6 spacious regions. The universal world hath he pervaded. The bull is Indra, o'er the beast he watches. He, Sakra, measures out 3 several pathways. He, milking out the worlds, the past, the future, discharges all the gods, eternal his duties. Being produced among mankind is Indra. The cauldron works, heated and brightly glowing. Let him not with good sons pass off in vapor, who hath not eaten the ox with knowledge. The ox pours milk out in the world of virtue. In the earliest time, he, Kavamana, smells it. Parjanya is the stream. Marutas is udder. Sacrifice is the milk. The mead is milking. That which not sacrifice nor sacrificer, not giver nor receiver, rules and governs, all winning, all supporting, all affecting, which of all quadrupeds tell us is the cauldron. May we, fame seekers, reach the world of virtue by service of the Dharma, and through a fervor whereby the gods, light pinks, went up to heaven, the center of life eternal, having left the body, Prajapata, supreme and sovereign ruler, Indra by form, and by his shoulder, Agna, came to Visvanara, came to all men's bullock. He firmly fortified and held securely. The middle of the bullock's neck, there, where the shoulder bar is placed, extends as far to east of him as that is settled to the west. He whosoever knows the 7 exhaustless pourings of the ox wins himself offspring and the world. The great 7 riches know this well, with feet subduing weariness, with legs extracting freshening draughts. Through toil, the plower and the ox approach the honeyed beverage. Assigned are these 12 nights, they say, as holy to Prajapata. Whoever knows their proper prayer performs the service of the ox. At evening he is milked. At early morn is milked at noon. We know that streams of milk that flow from him are inexhaustible. Now, we see that the meat and the meat consumption is a required part of religion, where, the right hymns and stuff are part of it, right? But this level of ritual, it's not about the ritual or the people involved or the things involved. As the Quran says, symbols. You gotta obey, but they're symbols. Surah 22, I think. Maybe Surah 2 mentions that too. Hymn 412, 7 verses. Thou art the healer, making whole, the healer of the broken bone. Make thou this whole. Arunvati, whatever bone of thine within thy body hath been wrenched or cracked, may Gatar set it properly, and join together limb by limb. With marrow be the marrow joined, thy limb united with the limb. Let what hath fallen of thy flesh, and the bone also grow again. Let marrow close with marrow, let skin grow united with the skin. Let blood and bone grow strong in thee, flesh grow together with the flesh. Join thou together hair with hair, join thou together skin with skin. Let blood and bone grow strong in thee, unite the broken part, O plant. Arise, advance, speed forth. The car hath goodly fellies, naves and wheels, stand up erect upon thy feet. If he be torn and shattered, having fallen into a pit, or a cast stone have struck him, let the skilled leech join limb with them, as twere the portions of a car. And sometimes some sort of physical unwholeness isn't going to be, but who knows what's possible if we trust in divinity. Hymn 413, 7 verses. Gods raise again the man whom ye, O gods, have humbled and brought low. Ye gods restore to life again him, gods, who hath committed sin. Here these 2 winds are blowing far as Sindhu from a distant land. One may breathe energy to thee, the other blow thy fault away. Hither, O wind, blow healing balm, blow every fault away. Thou wind, for thou who hast all medicine, comest as envoy of the gods. May the gods keep and save this man. The Marutas host deliver him. All things that be deliver him, that he be freed from his offense. I come nigh to thee with balms to give thee rest and keep thee safe. I bring thee mighty strength. I drive thy wasting malady away. Felicitous is this my hand, yet more felicitous is this hand contains all healing balms, and this makes whole with gentle touch the tongue that leads, the voice proceeds. Then, with this, our tenfold branching hands, with these two healers of disease, we stroke thee with a soft caress. Now, according to proper intentions and beliefs, may such passages as this be how we are effaced of our past sins, our current sins, and our future sins. Hymn 414, 9 verses. The goat was verily produced from Agni. Through sorrow he beheld, at first, his father. Through him, at first, the gods attained to godhead, and meet for sacrifices were exalted. Bearing in hands seed viands, go with Agni to the cope of heaven, reaching the sky that touches heaven, mix with the company of gods like pigs. From earth's high ridge to middle air I mounted, and from middle air ascended up to heaven. From the high pitch of heaven's cope I came into the world of light. Mounting the sky, they look not round. They rise to heaven through both the worlds. Sages who paid the sacrifice that pours its streams on every side. From among all the deities come forward. Thou who art eye of gods and man. Kind. O Agni, imploring and accordant with the Brigus, to heaven in safety, go the imploring and accordant. Go to the sacrificers. With milk and butter, I anoint the mighty celestial goat, strong-winged and full of juices. Through him will we attain the world of virtue, ascending to the loftiest cope to heaven. Set the goat's head toward the eastern region, and turn his right side to the southern quarter. His hinder part turn to the western quarter, and set his left side to the northern region. Set the goat's backbone upmost in the zenith, and lay his belly downward in the nadir. Set his mid-portion in mid-air between them. O'er the dressed goat lay a dressed skin to robe him, prepared in perfect form with all his members. Rise upward to the loftiest vault of heaven. With thy 4 feet stand firmly in the regions. Verse 6 ends, verse 5 ends, O Agni imploring and accordant with the Brigus, and heaven go safely to the sacrificers. I started to read the other line, repeat there, but I'm reminded of the Aleister Crowley, Frida Harris tarot deck and their devil card. I don't think that hymn 414 of the Atharvaveda is really being referenced, but it'd be interesting if the directions line up of, where things are facing. Hymn 415, 16 verses. Let all the misty regions fly together. Let all the rain clouds sped by wind assemble. Let water satisfy the earth. The voices of the great mist envelop bull who roareth. Let them show forth the strong, the bounteous Marutas. Let plants and shrubs be hung with drops of moisture. Let floods of rain refresh the ground with gladness, and herbs spring various with each form and color, cause us who sing to see the gathering vapors, outburst in many a place the rush of waters. Let floods of rain refresh the ground with gladness, and herbs spring, various with each form and color. Apart, Parjanya, let the troops of Marutas roaring swell the song. Let pouring torrents of the rain that raineth rain upon the earth, up from the sea lift your dread might, ye Marutas, as light and splendor. Send the vapor upward, let waters satisfy the earth, the voices of the great mist-enveloped bull, who roar thunder, set the sea in agitation. Bedew the ground with thy sweet rain, Parjanya. Send plenteous showers on him who seeketh shelter, and let the owner of lean kine go homeward. Let the boon Marutas, let the springs and coiling serpents tend you well. Urged by the Marutas, let the clouds pour down their rain upon the earth. Let lightning flash on every side. From all the regions blow the winds. Urged by the Marutas, let the clouds pour down their rain upon the earth. May waters, lightning, cloud, and rain, boon springs, and serpents tend you well. Urged by the Marutas, let the clouds pour down their rain upon the earth. May he who hath become the plant's high regent, suiting our bodies, Agna of the waters, may Jatavedas send us rain from heaven, Amrita and vital breath to earthly creatures, sending up waters from the flood and ocean. Prajapata, move the sea to agitation. Forth flow the moisture of the vigorous stallion. With this thy roar of thunder, come thou hither. Our Father, Lord divine, pouring the torrents, let the streams breathe, O Varuna of the waters. Pour the floods down along the brooks and channels. Let frogs with speckled arms send out their voices. They who lay quiet for a year, the Brahmins who fulfill their vows, the frogs have lifted up their voice, the voice Parjanya hath inspired. Speak forth, a welcome female frog. Do thou, O frog, accost the rain. Stretch thy 4 feet apart, and swim in the middle of the lake. Kanvaka ho. Kaimaka ho. Thou in the middle. Taduri. Fathers enjoy the rain from one who strives to win the Maruta's heart. Lift up the mighty cask and pour down water. Let the wind blow and lightnings flash around us. Let sacrifice be paid and widely scattered. Let herbs and plants be full of joy and gladness. What they mean by father, because it's not a literal father, but, what do they mean by that? In 4:16, 9 verses. The mighty ruler of these worlds beholds as though from close at hand the man who thinks he acts by stealth. All this the gods perceive and know. If a man stands or walks or moves in secret, goes to his lying down or his uprising, what 2 men whisper as they sit together, King Varuna knows. He as the third is present. This earth too is King Varuna's possession, and the high heaven whose ends are far asunder. The loins of Varuna are both the oceans, and this small drop of water too contains him. If one should flee afar beyond the heaven, King Varuna would still be round about him. Proceeding hither from the sky, His envoys look, thousand-eyed, o'er the earth beneath them. All this the royal Varuna beholdeth, all between heaven and earth, and all beyond them. The twinklings of men's eyelids hath he counted. As one who plays, throws dice, he settles all things. Those fatal snares of thine, which stand extended threefold, O Varuna, 7 by 7, may they all catch the man who tells a falsehood, and pass unharmed the man whose words are truthful. Varuna, snare him with 100 nooses. Man's watcher, let not him who lies escape thee. There let the villain sit, with hanging belly and bandaged like a cask, whose hoops are broken. Varuna sends and drives away diseases. Varuna is both native and a stranger. Varuna is celestial and is human. I bind and hold thee fast with all these nooses, thou son of such a man and such a mother. All these do I assign thee as thy portion. And it's important to consider what we have and then be like, okay, what is going to be spiritually dedicated? And, a certain portion is going to be explicitly spiritually dedicated. I mean, we can turn our whole life that way, but hymn 417, 8 verses. We seize and hold thee, conquering one, the queen of medicines that heal. O plant, I have endowed thee with 100 powers for every man, still conquering, banishing the curse, mighty with thy reverted bloom. Thee and all plants have I invoked. Hence, let it save us, was my prayer. She who hath cursed us with a curse, or hath conceived a murderous sin, or seized our son to take his blood, may she devour the child she bare. What magic they have wrought for thee in dish unbaked, or burnt dark red. What they have wrought in flesh undressed, conquer the sorcerers therewith. Ill dream and wretchedness of life, Rakshasa monster, stingy hags, all the she-fiends of evil name and voice, we drive away from us. Death caused by the famine, caused by thirst, failure of children, loss of kind. With thee, O Apamarga, of this ill we cleanse and wipe away. Death caused by thirst, death caused by stress of hunger, loss at play with dice. All this, O Apamarga, with thine aid we cleanse and wipe away. The Apamarga is alone the sovereign of all plants that grow. With this we wipe away whatever hath fallen on thee. Go in health. And even if it seems like a sure thing, don't gamble. Invest in business, and I don't mean, the stock market. If the stock market was like, this is a portion of a company and it's worth basically the equivalent of what the company's worth, what it is, what it's been doing, stock futures wouldn't matter. Hymn 418, 8 verses. The moonlight equaleth the sun, night is the rival of the day. I make effectual power my help. Let magic arts be impotent. Gods, if one make, and bring a spell on some man's house who knows it not. Close as the calf that sucks the cow, may it revert and cling to him. When one puts poison in a dish of unbaked clay to kill a man, it cracks when set upon the fire. with the sharp sound of many stones, endowed with 1,000 powers, adjure the bald, and those with necks, Ari, back to its author, turn the spell like a dear damsel to her friend. I, with this plant, have ruined all malignant powers of witchery. The spell which they have laid upon thy field, thy cattle are thy men. No power had he who wrought the spell. He hurt his foot, he broke his toe. His act hath brought us happiness and pain and sorrow to himself. Let Apamarga sweep away chronic disease and every curse. Sweep sorceresses clean away, and all malignant stingy hags. Sweep thou away the sorcerers, all stingy fiendish hags away. All this, O Apamarga, with thine aid we wipe away from us. And what's meant by witchcraft? Here we have this implication that witchcraft is bringing about harm. In the West, we have this connection of witchcraft to, forms of demonic worship. A lot of people think, well, it's not really demonic worship. It's like, well, if you know the demons are going to come in and do this stuff with this stuff, but yeah, don't worry about other people cursing you if you maintain your own spiritual power. Hymn 4:19, 8 verses. Thou breakest ties of kith and kin, thou causest to relationship so bruise the sorcerer's offspring like a reed that groweth in the rains. Thou hast been blessed with blessing by the Brahmin, Kanda Narshada. Thou fliest like a flashing dart. There is no fear or danger, plant, within the limit of thy range. Illumining as 'twere with light, thou movest at the head of plants. The Saviour of the simple man art thou, and slayer of the fiends. At once, when time began, the gods with thee expelled the asuras. Even thence, O plant, wast thou produced as one who wipes and sweeps away. Thy father's name was Cleaver. Thou with 1,000 branches cleavest all. Do thou turn backward, cleave and rend the man who treateth us as foes. The evil sprang from earth, it mounts to heaven and spreads to vast extent. Reverted, shaking him with might, thence on its maker let it fall. For thou hast grown reverted, and turned backward also is thy fruit. Remove all curses far from me, keep most remote the stroke of death. Preserve me with 100, yea, protect me with 1,000 aids. May mighty Indra, lord of plants, give store of strength and power to thee. And it's important that our faith isn't in the material things, but in who can give the material things qualities for every portion of our lives, or make us able to use those qualities. Hymn 420, 9 verses. It sees in front, it sees behind, it sees afar away, it sees the sky, the firmament, and earth, all this, O goddess, it beholds. Through thee, O godlike plant, may I behold all creatures that exist. 3 several heavens, 3 several earths, and these 6 regions, one by one. The pupil verily art thou of that celestial eagle's eye. On earth hast thou alighted, as a weary woman seeks her couch. The God who hath 1,000 eyes, give me this plant, in my right hand. I look on every one therewith, each Sudra and each Arya man. Make manifest the forms of things, hide not their essences from sight. And thou who hast 1,000 eyes, look the comedians in the face. Make me see Yaltudanas, make thou Yudanis visible. Make me see all the Sachas with this prayer, O plant. I hold thee fast. Thou art the sight of Kasyapa, and of the hound who hath 4 eyes. Make the Pisacha manifest as Surya when he rides at noon. Kamidin Yatudana from their hiding places have I dragged. I look on every one with this, Sudra and Arya, man alike. Make that Pisacha visible, the fiend who flies in middle air, the fiend who glides across the sky, and him who deems the earth his help. And in Persia, there was this practice of looking for these dogs with the 2 spots to look at the dead corpses. And the 1,000-eyed thing, there are beings with like 1,000 wings or 1,000 eyes, and is wing the right word? Is eye the right word? It's the best we have sometimes. Hymn 421, 7 verses. The kine have come and brought good fortune. Let them rest in the cow pen and be happy near us. Here let them stay prolific, many-colored, and yield through many morns their milk for Indra. Indra aids him who offers sacrifice and praise. He takes not what is his, and gives him more thereto, increasing evermore and evermore his wealth. He makes the pious dwell within unbroken bounds. These are ne'er lost, no robber ever injures them, no evil-minded foe attempts to harass them. The master of the kine lives a long life with these. The cows whereby he pours his gifts and serves the gods. The charger with his dusty brow o'ertakes them not, and never to the shambles do they take their way. These cows, the cattle of the pious worshipper, roam over widespread pasture, where no danger is. To me, the cows seem Bhagga, they seem Indra, they seem a portion of the first poured Soma. These present cows, they, O ye men, are Indra. I long for Indra with my heart and spirit. O cows, ye fattened Eden, the worn and wasted, and make the unlovely beautiful to look on. Prosper my home, ye with auspicious voices, your power is magnified in our assemblies. In goodly pasturage, bright-hued, prolific, drinking pure water at fair drinking places. Never be theft or sinful man your master, and may the dart of Rudra still avoid you. And cows, of course, are not the only thing that is to be seen as a representation, a reminder of divinity. The material world isn't divinity itself, but you know what I mean. In 422, 7 verses. Exalt and strengthen this my prince, O Indra. Make him sole lord and leader of the people. Scatter his foes, deliver all his rivals into his hand in struggles for precedence. Give him a share in village, kind, and horses, and leave his enemy without a portion. Let him as king be head and chief of princes. Give up to him, O Indra, every foeman. Let him be treasure lord of goodly treasures. Let him as king be master of the people. Grant unto him great power and might, O Indra, and strip his enemy of strength and vigor. Like milch kine yielding milk from warm libations, pour heaven and earth on him full many a blessing. May he as king be Indra's well beloved, the darling of the kine, the plants, the cattle. I join in league with thee, victorious, with whom men conquer and are ne'er defeated. He shall make thee the folk's sole lord and leader, shall make thee highest of all human rulers. Supreme art thou, beneath thee are thy rivals, and all, O king, who were thine adversaries, sole lord and leader, and allied with Indra, bring, conquer thy foreman's goods and treasures, consume with lion aspect all their hamlets with tiger aspect. Drive away thy foeman, sole lord and leader, and allied with Indra, seize, conquer thine enemies' possessions. Now, what would be meant by the metaphor of prince? Our son, our princess, or daughter, in reference to divinity. Because more literally, that would imply some sort of limit, which we're going beyond my sole leader and all that. But more to accomplish in the future. There to exalt, or to make exalted. Hymn 423, 7 verses. I fix my heart on wise and ancient Agni, the 5 tribes' lord, in many a place enkindled. We seek him who hath entered all our houses. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. As thou conveyest offerings, juxtapetus, and fashionest the sacrifice with knowledge, so bear thou to the gods the prayer we utter. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. I pray to Agni in each act successful, employed in every sacrifice, the strongest, fiend slayer, served with fatness, strengthening worship. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. We invoke the oblation bearer, well-born Agni Jetabetus, him Vaisvanara Almighty. May he set us free from trouble, with whom as friend the Rishis gave their power new splendor, with whom they kept aloof the Asura's devices. Agni, with whom Indra subdued the Panas, may he deliver us from grief and trouble, through whom the gods discovered life eternal, through whom they stored the plants with pleasant juices, through whom they brought to men the light of heaven. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. I, suppliant, praise, and ever call on Agni, sole Lord of all this world, of all that shineth, of what exists and shall exist hereafter. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. And one of the things, we don't have to worship the light beings and all that in order to be participants of this sort of thing. Islam, for example, says that the light beings crowd in upon the worshippers that worship God and recite hymns, proper hymns, and even good things that are not revealed or inspired. There's a presencing that occurs. Hymn 424, 7 verses. I think of Indra, only him forever, fiend slayer. May these lauds of mine come near him. He cometh to the pious officers calling. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. Who with strong arms o'ercame his strong opponents, who broke and crushed the power of the demons, who won the rivers and the kine in battle. May he deliver us from grief and trouble. ruler of men, finder of light, the hero, the pressing stones declare his valor, master of sweetest sacrifice, with 7 hotars, may he deliver us from grief and trouble, the lord of barren cows and bulls and oxen, finder of light, for whom the poets are planted, for whom the bright juice flows cleansed by devotion, may he deliver us from grief and trouble, whose favor those desire who offer soma, whom arrow-bearer men invoke in battle, on whom the hymn depends, in whom is power, may he deliver us from grief and trouble. Why was born first for active operation, whose valor as the first hath been awakened, who raised his bolt when he encountered Ahe, may he deliver us from grief and trouble, strong Lord who leadeth hosts to meet for battle, who sendeth riches both of earth and heaven. I, suppliant, praise, and ever call on Indra, may he deliver us from grief and trouble. And every offerer really is an officer in a way, right? Because we have the authority to perform the ritual acts that we have, of course, in ritual order. There's, classes and that sort of thing. But, in general, I think we just have the authority to do what we do, but you can't just wander in a Hindu temple and take over or whatever. That's, not what I'm talking about. But hymn 425, 7 verses. I think on Vayus and the Savitar's holy rites, ye twain who penetrate and guard the living world, ye who have come to be this, all pervaders, deliver us, ye too from grief and trouble, ye who have counted up the earth's expanses, and in the sky smoothed out the air's mid-region, whose going forth hath ne'er been reached by any, deliver us, ye too, from grief and trouble. Beauteously bright, men rest in thy dominion, when thou hast risen up and hastened onward. Ye Vayu Savitar, preserve all creatures, deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Hence Vayu Savitar, drive evil action, chase Samhita away, drive off the demons, ye give us store of energy and power, deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Of their own selves let Savitar and Vayu send favorable strength and wealth and plenty. Here give us perfect freedom from consumption. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Ye Savitar and Vayu, to assist us, enjoy the hymn and the delightful cheer. Come hither downward from the stream of blessing. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Like noblest benisons, they have stayed in the God-loving man's abode. I glorify bright Savitar and Vayu. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. And let's remember that, just like the Bible and the Quran and all this stuff, if you love God, you follow the commandments that you believe the sent one has brought. No, I mean the actual ones. Sometimes people say things are commandments, but they're not. But it's not just something you vainly say or blindly assert. Hymn 426, 7 verses. O heaven and earth, I think on you, wise givers of abundant gifts, ye who, through measureless expanses, have spread forth, for ye are seats and homes of goodly treasures. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Yea, seats and homes are ye of goodly treasures, grown strong, divine, blessed, and far extending. To me, O heaven and earth, be ye auspicious. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. I call on you who warm and cause no sorrow. Deep, spacious, meet to be adored by poets. To me, O heaven and earth, be ye auspicious. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. Ye who maintain amrita and sacrifices, ye who support rivers and human beings, to me, O heaven and earth, be ye auspicious. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble, ye by whom cows and forest trees are cherished, within whose range all creatures are included. To me, O heaven and earth, be ye auspicious. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble, ye who delight in nectar and in fatness, ye without whom men have no strength or power. To me, O heaven and earth, be ye auspicious. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. The grief that pains me here, whoever caused it, not sent by fate, hath sprung from human action. I suppliant praise heaven, earth, and oft invoke them. Deliver us, ye twain, from grief and trouble. And it's very important that we realize the impact on our environment by our worship, and to speak well of the environmental things. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to, say prayers to the sky or something. We can do that without.